Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vitra's very first International Women's Day panel. My name is Cecilia, and I am thrilled to be moderating this session in which we are going to address and highlight the participation of women in the industry. I would like to start by introducing the four incredible women who are participating in this conversation. So, all the way from Bulgaria, we got Mariela, CMO of Imperia Online. Mariela, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me in this panel. I'm sure that today we'll have the chance to discuss lots of interesting topics.
Mariela, can you tell us a little bit more of how long have you been at Imperia? What do you do in your role as a CMO?
Yeah, sure. So Imperia Online is one of the biggest game production companies in Southeastern Europe, and I'm part of the team for 8 years. The company itself is for more than 15 years on the market. I have experience of 10 years in marketing and business development. Before that, for online products, but not games. So I'm really happy that I started my career in Imperia Online. I'm also part of the Bulgarian Forbes Women's Society.
That's very inspiring, thank you. Now, next in line, we got Diala Dev, all the way from the MENA region, and she is the PR and Communications Manager at Babil Game. Hello, Diala, how are you?
Hi guys, how are you? I'm good. Okay, so just something very quick about me. Yes, Babel Games is in Dubai and Jordan as well. I'm just handling the PR and communications in terms of branding, corporate image, social media, online, offline, as well as the game's social media accounts. And I've been with Babel for almost 10 months. So far, it's so much fun, the gaming industry, and
It's a pleasure to have you here.
thank
Now,
you.
Anna Weingarten, she is a server developer at Good Game Studios. Hello, Anna.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. About myself, I'm Anna. Like you said, I'm turning 24 tomorrow, and I'm currently working at Good Game Studios, which is a developer of browser and mobile games in Germany, mostly strategy games. I've been working as a server developer for about 2 years now, and 2.5 years before that, I was also at Good Game, but I was doing my apprenticeship straight out of high school, so they've brought me up.
That's awesome. And last but definitely not least, I got one of my own here, Anastasia Nefed, our dear data scientist. Hello, Anastasia.
Hi, Cecilia, and hi, girls, and hi, everyone. So thank you for inviting me here. I'm Anastasia, as Cecilia said. I'm a data scientist at Vitra Labs Hamburg, and I have been working at Vitra Labs for more than 1 year. And Vitra Labs, I help teams to make business decisions based on data.
Great. Now I got a list of topics here to discuss, so let's kick this off. The first topic that we're gonna address are some industry myths. Now, the first that we're gonna talk about, I think, is the most common myth. I think it's also one that is been uncovering itself slowly but surely. But yeah, definitely is the biggest misconception, which is only men play video games. Now, I know that Anastasia, in her true data scientist nature, she came prepared with some statistics. So Anastasia, you got the screen and the microphone for you.
Oh, super. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm starting to present numbers. Are you ready? Perhaps you will be even a bit shocked. So, near half of gamers are women, but does the industry know it? So actually, women love to play video games. As you can see, 45% of all gamers are women. The average female video game player is 36, and the average male video game player is 32. These numbers, Google Play helped me to prepare. It is also true that females prefer to play mobile games. 49% of all mobile gamers are women, and 64% of women prefer mobile over any other gaming platform. As you can see, young girls are up to games too. You will be really shocked, but 24% of younger girls call video games a favorite hobby or interest. And these numbers, oh my God, this is incredible. 86% of teen girls play games on a computer, console, or mobile device. And 69% of teen girls have played a new mobile game in the past week. Well, I hope now you really know that women like to play.
Yeah, definitely myth uncovered. Now I know that Anna, you are a gamer at heart since you were very, very young. I would love, and I think everyone would love to hear your insight on this myth. Can you talk a little bit about your own experience on this?
Sure, I'd love to. Yeah, as you said, I've been playing video games since I was very young, and as I grew older, I was a bit surprised to see that most people thought it was a boys' thing. I was playing, my sister was playing, all my friends were playing, but we might not have been playing the same games that the boys were playing. Because there is such a wealth of video games that are targeted at young girls. I know I love to play games that has horses and cute animals and life simulations and all that stuff. And a lot of my girlfriends like those as well. But we might tend to forget about these.
Yeah, well said. The second myth that we have in line is that women are not interested in introducing, like in gaming industry jobs. I know, Mariela, you got a management position. You interview a lot of people to work at Imperia. Can you give us your insights on this myth?
Yeah, the past 2 years, actually, I saw that there is a trend that everybody comes for marketing, business development positions that don't require any kind of game experience, but they actually want to share that they are spending lots of time playing games, and actually they wanted to start in the game industry. And since we are the biggest Bulgarian studio, they always find some way to look for our positions. And to add to those great statistics of Anastasia, I remember that I saw that maybe 40% of the women gamers are actually like interested in games which family members or friends gave them recommendation for, and that's how they start playing.
And you that are a little bit more in contact with the teams, I think in previous conversations that we have, you mentioned that there were some advantages of having more balanced teams in the companies. Can you give us an example of this?
Yeah, an example that's super accurate is my team, because we are a small biz dev team of just 5 people, but whenever we are 50-50 or at least 2 boys, 3 girls, or 3 boys, 2 girls, it's always better, because I feel that this diversity gives more views to all kinds of research tasks that we have, even the approach to some of the tasks when we are cold calling or in the sales process is different. So I believe this actually goes the same way for all kinds of departments, and this diversity gives more ideas even for game creations, for the game designers, and that's how they will know if they're on the right path with more diversity.
That's super interesting. Now, Diala, I know also that you're in a management position and you get to, uncover this myth very often. Do you have any insights on this?
Yeah, like from let's say from a PR or a social media perspective of the gaming industry itself, everyone sees it as fun. So for young people especially, they want to work in a fun environment. Whether it's a female or a male, it's not really that much of a big deal, especially here. Like we got females who were interviewing for position for social media. They were so excited that it was the gaming industry. It's their first as well, but they were like, "Oh my God, I can be as creative as I want." It's just so colorful and so much fun. So which is great. Even as females, it doesn't stop them. They're not intimidated from the gaming industry. So that's good.
And now, Anastasia and Anna, you both have roles that are a little bit less stereotypical for women, which is data scientist, and Anna is a server developer. From your experience and talking to your female peers, what do you have any advice or anything regarding the myth of the woman not being interested in this industry?
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing is just plain not true. I have a lot of great colleagues and friends who are women in the gaming industry, and most of them actively went looking for a job in the gaming industry because this is where we want to be. It's the same thing for myself. I love what I do as a programmer and software engineer, but my biggest goal when I started this journey was to work in games, and I was very happy that that worked out.
That's awesome. Okay, now the next myth is you have to be a gamer to work in the gaming industry. Now, also for previous conversations that I have with Diala, I really, and you know why, I want you to give the input on this topic.
Like, of course. Okay, so basically I have zero gaming experience like in the industry. So when it comes to so how I was offered the position was just very random. I was headhunted by the HR. They just saw my social media, how I was posting on Instagram, the way I communicate with people, let's say the personality is fitting to a gaming personality. So, and I'm not a gamer, but I'm enjoying it, and so far so good. And yeah, you don't necessarily have to be a gamer in order to work in the gaming industry.
Mariela, I know you got a similar story. Could you share that with us?
Yeah, I'm not a natural gamer myself. I grew up playing video games with my cousins during our summer vacations, but then in my university years, I completely forgot about how fun it is. When I met my husband, I didn't even realize what a geeky gamer he is. So he opened my eyes again for the games, and the games he plays are like nothing to do with Imperia Online ones. They're hardcore PC Steam games, and I had doubts when applying for the Imperia Online position. But I was so enthusiastic to learn new things, to learn about the industry, and wanted to learn more about it. So I didn't find this a stopper, and this is how it actually happened with a fantastic mentor that I had, Tsvetan Rusimov, our COO. Actually, I just found it not that difficult.
That's awesome. And we are done with the myth uncovering. But now that we are on the topic of how did we get in the industry, I know Diala got through social media. Mariela just told her story. I would like Anastasia and Anna. Anna, you talk about it briefly, but maybe you can talk a little bit more in depth of the program that helped you got the job on Good Game Studios.
So what started me on this path was actually quite a while back when I was a pretty young girl, and we have this program called Girls' Day, which is a once-a-year thing in Germany where all kinds of companies or universities open their gates to introduce young girls to jobs that they might not be considering. One year I went into a game development program at a university in Hamburg, and that day I just said, this is what I want to do. I want to make games. there was a bit of a back and forth the next few years. One further myth being, oh, you have to be so into gaming and you have to know so much to even get a position. And then when it was time out of school to actually look at apprenticeship opportunities, I just found this position at Good Game Studios, and I applied, and they wanted me, and I couldn't believe it.
That's awesome. Now, Anastasia, tell us what you were doing before entering the gaming industry and how did you landed your first job in the industry?
So after I finished my university, I started my career in banking. Yeah, a bit unusual, not gaming and so on, but I always liked numbers and I always liked games. So after 1 year in banking, I understood like, oh my God, what am I doing here? This is a very nice industry, but I would love to be closer to games. And this is how I switched to gaming, and I didn't regret it. And I'm still very happy in the gaming industry.
It is a very, very great industry, so much fun and so much to learn. And now we go to the next topic. We also have some visual, I think we need some visuals for this, but it is the representation of gender in games. Again, I know Anastasia has some visual prepared, so go ahead and share it and let's start the discussion because it is very interesting.
Okay, maybe it's kind of unusual, but let's firstly look at actually numbers. As you know, in most cases, when we're talking about the main character in the game, we're talking about male character. This is nothing wrong with it, but I would love to see also more girls in the games. So let's just have a look at those numbers. As we can see, this is a share of females in the games. And in 2020, we had like a top share. 18% of all games had main character as a woman or a female. And now we actually see more and more great female characters in the games. And I think that this trend will continue, or at least I hope so. At the same time, what I wanted to show you that sometimes girls are kind of very strange represented in the games. So let's look at Tomb Raider Evolution. You know that Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, is an explorer, and she is also kind of a good and very nice warrior. So if you look at her at the beginning of Tomb Raider series, you can see here that she looks, I would say, weird. Yeah, she has very, very small shorts, very tiny top, and so on. But why does she wear these clothes? Actually, she is going to be in the desert. She is going to be in the forest. She is going to battle her enemies and so on. In the end, if you look at the female character in Tomb Raider, at the end of this series, it's not the end, but let's say this is the latest character. She looks very intelligent. She looks very nice. She has very nice clothes, and her body is actually not naked as it was at the beginning. I don't know, girls, what's your opinion about it?
I know that when we were preparing for this panel, Anna had like the other side of the coin, which was some games that represent females a little bit more accurately or not in an over-sexualized way. Maybe, Anna, you want to give your input on this?
Sure. I've also noticed, like Anastasia said, that it's gotten a lot better over the last few years. I'm playing a lot of games where you can actually choose your character, and if you want to play a man or a woman, and it used to be that you could choose a woman and it wouldn't really make sense what she was wearing and all that kind of stuff. And now recently with games like Outer Worlds, which came out a few years ago, which I just finished a few days ago and loved, there's none of that left. you just create a character. It doesn't matter if it's a woman, she has some armor on that makes sense, everyone respects her the same. I also really liked Aloy from the game Horizon Zero Dawn. I think we have some visual representation for her as well.
There she is.
There she is. Which is just my absolute favorite out of all the characters that I've seen in games over the last few years.
Why is this your favorite? Why do you think it's a good example of how women should be represented in video games?
Well, first of all, you have this beautiful picture. You can see nothing she's wearing looks at all sexualized, or if it's supposed to be something viewed by men, especially. But she's still a very pretty and feminine woman. And if you actually explore her story in the game, you see that she's an extremely strong character who's really forging her own destiny and telling her own story. But that doesn't mean that she has to be hard or uncaring. You can combine these things and just make a very realistic human portrayal.
I agree with you. And by the way, anyone from the audience that's watching that's got examples of women that you like how they're represented in games, give them a shout out. You can leave them in the comment. And also, if you got any questions, if we have time at the end, we will answer them. If not, we will find time after it to reply to you. But I encourage you to leave your questions. And I also want to give a shout out to some games who are representing women in a strong way instead of what we used to see or what we saw on the last years. Faith Connors of Mirror's Edge, Ellie from The Last of Us, Alex Vance of Half-Life, Fem Shep of Mass Effect, and as we saw, Tomb Raider is working on it and doing great progress. We can move on now to the next topic, which is a question for you guys. What advice would you give women who are thinking about entering to the gaming industry? Diala, you didn't saw yourself at the beginning in the gaming industry and now you're loving it, what would you say to any woman who's considering it?
I just say that try not to have anything that stops you from being creative. Like no matter the industry, just think on a whole, outside the box. Take things step by step and don't get overwhelmed, and just don't listen to any if there's anyone telling you otherwise. Just be confident. Even if you're a woman in a gaming industry, step by step you will get more into the gaming industry and you will learn more. And just be yourself. Like no matter what, just be yourself and be confident.
Mariela, you are the one with more seniority here, and I think you got great words of wisdom to young women out there.
Yeah, I actually started the same way, not coming from this industry. So my advice to young girls is to be open for all kinds of adventures. And I had at least 20 trainees during those 8 years. Half of them were girls. And I see that first they're scared. They didn't know enough about games, about the market. So it always turns that they were wrong, and actually they just needed to pay some attention to numbers, to learn about the industry, as for every new industry they would start in. And I would say that the key is just knowing the sector.
Anastasia, I also know that you got very good advice or words of encouragement to all the women out there.
Yeah, girls, just be brave. Do not be afraid. I think that's the main point. And I also think that there is no gender at work. There is no gender in professions. You can be whoever you want, actually. And I just want girls to understand that you can be successful in professions We can also make mistakes as all other people do. That's okay. Just don't be afraid and be brave.
Anna?
Yeah, I just want to say don't be intimidated and don't be scared to be the only woman in the room, because especially in the tech positions, it's still pretty common that a team has only men or mostly men, but it doesn't mean you can't make your voice heard. It doesn't mean your work has any different kind of value. And honestly, it can be quite nice if you're the only one who uses the bathroom.
The little perks. Now I want to know, what advice would you give to men to encourage women, or how can they do something to empower the women, to empower their female colleagues? Mariela, do you have any words of advice on this for your male colleagues?
I always had male colleagues for mentors, even in my past position. So I can't say exactly the difference, but I guess that they were pushing me hard. They were giving me lots of opportunities just to find my way, not giving me any kind of templates or anything like that. Just I was trying to find my way, and then when I had questions, they were just giving suggestions, and that's how I actually created my way of handling BizDev stuff, which is great. I mean, women are very using empathy all the time, and I find that maybe in management positions we have that strength, and we can create teams that are actually like little families, or at least that's how I feel in my team.
Anastasia, I know, because I saw your work and I know your team, how has been your experience with your male colleagues? How they help you to develop and encourage you to grow?
My male colleagues are amazing people. Hi guys, thank you very much for being such nice people. I have never experienced any problems with male colleagues, and I would say that in most cases, 99% of all cases, men are really friendly to female colleagues. They are willing to help. They are ready to talk about some problems, some issues. They are really encourage you to do some additional and very useful stuff. So I would say that girls, just don't be afraid, like no problems with male colleagues. That's very nice that you can be in very, very different teams. You can work with females, you can work with males, and honestly, I don't see any difference between genders.
I would have just to say that knowing your experiences and coming from the same family of companies, we are lucky enough to work in a safe environment, but there is definitely issues in the industry, just like in any other, unfortunately. But yeah, we've been lucky enough to be empowered and encouraged by our female and male colleagues. Now, going to the next topic, which is very related to this, is what can companies do to balance the participation of women in their companies? As Mariela mentioned before, there are many benefits on productivity and the outcome of having a balanced team. But Diala, you that work on PR and trying to reflect the culture of the company outside to the outside world, what would you recommend for other companies? What can they do to balance this out?
So basically, just shed more light on achievements that female employees at the company have done. More like encourage women to be more outgoing, to say what she wants, and like share opinions or whatever that's related to the industry. Share, as I said, the success stories. We're very, very grateful, as you said, to be working with as part of our group, and especially here at Babel Games, our culture. We have actually we have 55% of women in 55% of senior positions as women, which is something amazing. Like we push women to be in management positions, and that's something that's very motivating in the culture itself. So yeah. So basically, as you said, as you focus on social media, on PR, focus on women's success.
I don't know if anyone else has any ideas to propose to other companies out there.
Yeah, perhaps what happens with our academy, because the co-founders of Imperia Online also founded IT Talents. It's a free academy for developers. Is that there are lots of female developers, and I can't say the difference honestly. There are so many that started working in our company that now there are 27% of all women in the company, the development positions. And the whole number of women in the company is 43%, which is great for the industry, because I remember that the average was 24 or 25%. But as you might know, Bulgaria ranks first in Europe in the number of women working in the ICT industry. So this might come as no surprise in our country.
That is very encouraging, and it gives us hope. And now to the last topic. When preparing for this, all of us, we discovered that when trying to do research for some influential people in the gaming industry or top CEOs of the industry, everyone in the list was a male. You have to literally Google for women in the gaming industry until a woman pops out. So we decided that it was a very easy way for us to pick one industry hero, tell why we picked this industry hero, why you should keep an eye on her. We might know these women, we might not know them. It's just somebody who we picked who inspired us, and we want to give them a shout out. So Anastasia, who is your industry hero?
Actually, all girls who are working in the gaming industry, but if we're talking about some names, I would say that Maria Alegre, who is a co-founder of Recharge Boost. I think she is a very hardworking and amazing person. And, it's not that common that a woman creates a company. So I think that she made really great thing in her life, like creating this amazing company, giving a lot of women opportunity to believe in themselves. And another woman I would love to admire is actually Catherine Gunn. She's a professional gamer, and I think she's also a game changer, because she actually showed that girls can play computer games really cool, really nice, and beat all boys and also girls and so on. So, just a hope for really a big amount of women.
That's awesome. Anna, who did you pick?
I picked two women as well. One that I really admire is Kim Swift, who is basically the mastermind behind the game Portal, which a lot of you might know, and is also one of my favorite games. And another shout out to Jessica Delfanti, who is a personal friend of mine, who's also an amazing writer and narrative designer, who is really starting her career and now in a position where the work she does also helps empower other women creators to be their best selves.
That's very inspiring. Mariela, who are you bringing to the table?
Yeah, I chose Senai Gurel. She's the general counsel of Voodoo. She started there maybe 2 years ago. Before that, she was 8 years in PayPal. Her origins are from the Balkan countries, and she's very into the M&A topic, which I find really interesting the last couple of months. And her career is amazing. She's very down to earth. I really liked the advice, tips she gave at the Facebook Women in Gaming stories. And yeah, the fact that she's just um, from the Balkans, but she's working in Europe in such high positions in the industry, but she came from actually from another industry and started in the game industry just recently. I find her very inspiring. Also, I just remember that when I was just the first or the second time at Gamescom, I met the COO of XS Software. XS Software is the second biggest Bulgarian game company, and she was a woman. And I was like, wow, so this is possible. I really liked her.
They exist, they're not a myth only. That's very encouraging. And
Yeah.
Diala, who do you want to give a shout out?
I'll give a shout out to Jade Raymond. She actually was the producer for the first Assassin's Creed, which is a game I love. And like if you look at the game and the developers, you think it's a man-made game or whatever, but it was inspiring that it was a female who initiated this. And she's the head of Google's Stadia Games and Entertainment as well, and she founded Ubisoft Toronto, and it shows like she also won a Pioneer Award in the industry, which is amazing that she's shining through developers as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Now, I also pick my industry hero, who I want to give a shout out, which is one of the women who really made me realize how important was this conversation. Her name is Elizabeth Sampat. She has a website, elizabethsampat.com, and she's done so many things. She has gone from game designer. She's currently a studio creative director at Future Games London, but she's been a game designer. She's been in monetization. She's been in live ops, and she even writes books. And she is a great speaker to the cause of equality in the gaming industry. She gives very, very eloquent speeches. I encourage you a lot to look her up and get inspired and encouraged by her. So thank you so much for tuning in to this first International Women's Day virtual panel. Thank you so much to you ladies for giving me your time and your disposition. This has been very inspiring to me, and I hope it's inspiring for everyone who's watching. Remember, this talk is gonna be here on the YouTube channel, so even when we're done, you can share this with any person that you think it might be fruitful for. And don't forget to subscribe and share it. And see you until the next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.